School Lane, one of the character areas of Lincoln. It lies just to the east of the city centre. Broadgate runs north-south along the eastern boundary of the area, following the line of the defensive ditch of the Lower Roman Colonia. This position between the city centre and a major north-south road has helped define the area's character. It is a place where important, mainly civic functions have always been located. You can see this in the buildings, which are predominantly Victorian and early Victorian in character, because that's typically when these keynote buildings were built. Which is not to say they are in any sense uniform. At the northeastern corner of the area, the former Lincoln Constitutional, that is Conservative Club, occupies a sharply angled corner into which it thrusts its round observatory tower with its characteristic and vigorous strapwork decoration on the drums supporting the cupola. This is a work of 1895 in an eclectic Flemish Renaissance style by the prolific local architect William Watkins. The Liberal Club in St Swithin's Square was built 5 years before it, in 1890. The two buildings are in direct architectural competition, just as the Liberals and the Conservatives were in political competition. The Liberal Club is a much less flamboyant building, nearly symmetrical, observant of the scale and building line of its neighbours, and, in an architectural style, far less adventurous for its period. The Cooperative Building on Free School Lane was originally a department store and workshops from the late 19th century. A beehive is carved over the main doorway to symbolise the society's ethic of success through cooperation. The drill hall, facing Broadgate, dating from 1890, was given a castle-like appearance, with turrets, crenellations, and something of the look of a Tudor gatehouse. The library was built to the designs of Sir Reginald Blomfield in 1914. It's one-storied of stone, but with a two-storied domed centre. The imposing facade, a combination of 18th century French with English motifs from the William and Mary period, is like nothing else here. The library faces two ways. To Broadgate, it presents a much more pared-down postmodern appearance. This double aspect is a key characteristic of the area, seen in plenty of other buildings, the drill hall and even St Swithin's Church. It shows how buildings acknowledge the importance of Broadgate as a main road, but still respect the city centre which lies to the west. These and other buildings set the character of the area. Yet for all their differences, they produce an effect of real homogeneity. There is a sense in which the similarities between them are more important than the differences. Most of these late 19th, early 20th century buildings have in common a generally vertical emphasis. Typically, wooden sash windows, a height of 2 to 3 stories. The general use of brick, with decorative additions in stone or in sometimes elaborately moulded brick or terracotta. Roofs are generally hipped and gabled and covered with Welsh slate. But the area had a life long before the late 19th century, and some traces of that remain. Broadgate follows the line of the former Roman eastern defences to the lower city. The pattern of remaining streets in the area is medieval in date. The oldest building is in fact of the 13th century, a surviving building from the Greyfriars Friary. Its 13th century part is made of stone, but there are some 19th century bits in brick. The building bears traces of several different uses to which it has been put over the centuries. Much of the fabric was restored in 1909 when it was converted into a museum. The Friary occupied a large area, from Silver Street in the north to more or less the Witham, and from Broadgate in the east to Free School Lane. At the dissolution, this large estate was broken up. Where St Swithin's Church stands today was a sheep market, and the plot of the church roughly marks out the extent of the former pens. The present St Swithin's was built between 1869 and the mid-1880s. Its tall spire soars above every building in the area. An earlier medieval church existed immediately to the west, the churchyard of which survives in the form of a small urban park. All other traces of that earlier church have been lost, but look closely at the paving stones here, and you'll see that many of them are reused gravestones. The area has experienced some development during the 20th century, including the large 1930s building to the north of the old graveyard, as well as Thorngate House, which was built recently in 2004. The huge bulk of this 8-storey building, which towers over everything but St Swithin's spire, is decorated with alternating bands of beige and orange brickwork, with blue string courses to boot. It's quite unlike anything else in the area. Some locals know it as Bertie Bassett House. This video is one of a series exploring the sense of place of the many distinctive areas of the City of Lincoln. Explore the Heritage Connect website to find out more about this or other areas of the city. As well as many videos, you'll find a huge amount of further information there. But best of all, wherever you are, keep your eyes open for more clues to the city's fascinating history.